back. During the break I just grabbed a coffee and cleared my head for a little bit and had a bit of a think about the instructions. So I think I've figured it out. If you recall, I also had the control column go flying off into the distance, and I managed to find that, which was a bit of good luck really. This is very detailed, which is, you know, one hand's lovely for a 1/48 scale, but the other hand is a little bit painful. So what I've done, just so you know where I'm up to, is basically in step 11 here, we've got the instrument panel, rudder pedals, control column, this lever, which I'm not sure what it is, but it sits in there, and then we've got this other part that then sort of sandwiches together, and that's where I'm up to. So you can see there I've got the lever and all the other bits there, and there are holes on this side as well, and according to the instructions these are all supposed to fit together. You might just pick up a little bit of skepticism because I know this is going to be a little bit challenging given how delicate these parts are, and the alignment is going to be a little bit off, I'm sure, because I'm not that good at these things. So we're just going to have to do the best we can. Because there is multiple parts that have to fit into their little slots. Ah dear. For this all to come together, and I know those rudder pedals are not sitting right, but I'm kind of hoping I can fix that once I get the locating hole sorted. That's my theory, which I've now lost the track. Where is it? No, there it is, just underneath that wiring bus. So it's going to have to sit down lower. Not sure why this is not wanting to sit quite. No, it doesn't feel like it wants to sit where it should be. I'm just not sure whether I didn't trim that enough or something, because the tolerances in this are incredibly tight. Yeah, what's going wrong? Truth be told, even that doesn't want to really fit, because I think it's been moulded so tightly, even that paint that I've put on is enough to throw it off. Right now I kind of give Airfix credit for the detail, but I'm kind of emotional about how hard it is to put it together. And again, I remember the Hurricane being a bit of a pain, but perhaps not quite as much as this. I wonder if the Hurricane was a newer kit and they learnt from this one. Okay, that's the silver bit in place. get rudder pedals to sit. Oh, I had a click. I think we did it. Of course, the bottom's not sitting in properly. What if I just squeeze it a bit harder? I think that's it. I do believe that's it. Wow. That looks nice. It's all done. But you've got to work for it. Now, let's check the instructions. Make sure there's nothing else that's got to go in there before I do any more. Yeah, C52 goes on the end. Okay. Got that piece. Why is that not fitting? Okay, now that's going to get me emotional if it does that. So I think I'm just going to glue these parts first, if I can. And then I'll worry about that. I'm just worried about these rudder pedals coming out and all sorts of dramas can happen then. I think they're just supposed to. Yeah. So it has to go in like that. This is not a particularly easy construction stage to do, but I think that's what they intend you to do. Like that. Wow, okay. Well, I've got it there. I'm going to go for it. I'm bound to stick my fingers here. It's way too many ways now, so I've got it all over the back, so hopefully it's not important. I don't think it is. I don't think that's going to be seen. Oh. And then the tricky bit is gluing this together. Holding it so you don't see the join. Curious. Just how that sits. How much is going to be visible is what I'm curious about. guessing it goes in like that. Would be my best guess. I suppose I shouldn't guess. Maybe not. I guess it's further back. Oh, because it's got a piece that goes in, doesn't it? So it sits there. Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm a little concerned about we'll have to paint the back of that. That's what I'm trying to work out. Essentially. Alright. Let's move on. Oh joy, I'm going to try and fit the cockpit. Now in theory, this bulkhead, which was the word I couldn't think of before without a coffee, is supposed to slide into these slots on the side. Without anything breaking. I stand corrected, but I think it just did. Okay. Some glue on before it changes its mind. Okay, so there's our seat. So we're going to have another bulkhead here going on here in a minute, for sure. And we do, which is 78. And we're going to need that guy soon. So this one here, it's going to slide into this last slot at the back. Probably meant to be aluminium and not green from the look of things. Oh well. We're going to move on. Okay. Checking I've got things around the right way. It appears I do. Let's put some glue on that before it changes its mind. Okay. And then this piece here that I had to paint. Is some kind of a bracket that fits on top between the two bulkheads. Oh yeah, I can see. It's coming apart at the bottom too. Never mind, I can fix that. Not too worried about that. So for this bit, we have a bit there. I can zoom in a bit for you. You can see what I'm working with then. There you go. Very fine tolerances at this point, but there's a bracket hole there, and there's one there. And this little guy that I just cut off the tree is supposed to fit in there. And there. Like that. said very fine tolerances there. Next up is you put the pilot in, if you're going to have a pilot. I don't think I'll put the pilot in, not because I've got a problem with the pilot. It's not a bad model at all, actually. It's more just to do with the practicalities of trying to get this done. There's the oxygen bottle going again. Really? You want me to put that in now after I've assembled everything? Surely that would have been easier earlier. Just saying. Oh, it goes on. Oh, okay, it goes on this after you glue it into the fuselage. Oh, okay. Alright, Airfix, take it back. See why you did that way. Okay. Let's see if we can get these parts to glue together a bit before we get too excited. Fairly interesting way of doing things, but yeah, I can see why they've done it that way as far as the detail goes, but yeah. I think I've got my runner pedals a bit skew F2. How easy it is to fix it at this point. Don't come out on me, whatever you do. And my seat keeps moving because I think the plastic's a bit warped. So I'm just going to enjoy that the way it is, I think. Put it in camera there, you can see it's a little bit skewy, but honestly, yeah, it's bugging me. And if it was not a 48-hour build, I think I would go back and try and fix all that. But it is a 48-hour build, and we do need to move on because we're running out of time. I don't know why that's not gluing. Let's try another glue. Okay. Just going to take a picture for the Facebook group. Alright, so now the fun really begins. And I'm particularly worried about this canopy frame because I'm not sure what the instructions is telling me, whether it's optional or whether I actually do need to be concerned about it. It's not abundantly clear if I should be panicking about it or not. So let's see if we can find the clear part that I need. Oh good, there's multiple clear parts, optional. Really guys? What version are we doing, A or B? A. So we've got 3-part hood or a 2-part. Oh, okay. Whether you want to have it slid forward or not. Right. Okay. So let's say we're going to slide it back. So F10 is the part that we're using, and I think that's why you've got to cut it, because it's got to sit below F5. That would be my theory. Probably wrong, but until I've got a better one. So here's the clear parts. Let's cut those 2 parts off and see if we can do a dry fit. Let's see what dramas we get, trying to get them to fit. Or do we just go with the clear and put it straight over it? That would be quicker for painting. Maybe this one will just go with a closed canopy. So I need F2. That one, and F8, so let's try F2. Okay, that's F2. Let's just see if F2, I don't think we need to play right now. Let's just have a bit of a play. The fuselage should look, zoom out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to see if this clear part is going to play ball without me having to cut pieces. Not really. It does indeed fit over that. Oh no, it should. There's where the slide is. So no, I think that should be like that. Yeah, that's where the slide is for it to slide back. So what's the problem? Or is there not one when I'm using this piece? Got a little bit of I don't want that one. What to do? It's not working. Right where this canopy's got to fit is where they decided to put the joint for the fuselage to the sprue tree, which is probably not their finest moment, because it's a very important part to fit flush. Yeah, no, that looks fine. I'm not seeing any drama there, so I think we'll get away with that. Although these parts do need a bit of sanding. Let's put a bit of paint on those while I think of it. Still got a bit of the paint left over from airbrushing. And we'll just pop a bit of that on there. That's where we've been sanding. Okay. What's next? I guess it's going to be trying to get this thing sandwiched together. It's going to be my guess. What am I looking for? Got something to clean the brushing. There we go. Now's about the time I have to make a decision whether I'm going to use any varnish on this. And my first thought is no. I don't think it looks that bad. I don't think it really needs it. And that's one less step we have to do. So I'm not going to worry about putting varnish on the inside. I'm not even sure I'm going to put any more weathering on it either. Definitely saying you've got to remove that if you want the hood to sit flush. Let me just try that again. Maybe it wasn't sitting flush. Looks alright. I'm not quite sure what the problem is. It really does look alright. I don't know. They're quite adamant you've got to remove a part of it, but I'm just not sure why. But I'm worried if I don't do it, I'm going to get caught, because you wouldn't think they'd ask you to take it out if they weren't serious about it. And it says optional, which is the weird bit. I don't understand why it's optional. It says alternate parts provided. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Just don't understand that. I'm sorry, Airfix. That's not really. I'm not really getting it. I'm not really getting it. I'm just gonna have to pretend I didn't say it. I'm sorry. All right. The next bit is going to be gluing this in. So sure I know where I'm putting it. It's going there, it's going all the way back. This is one of the compromises of this design, is you get a really thick sidewall because of the tub sort of model that they've come up with. So there is a compromise there. That's another reason why I'm thinking I'd be happy with this having the canopy closed, because if you have the canopy open, that's all a bit annoying. I mean, it's okay, but it's just annoying. Alright, is that done? Again, they got reference to removing that part to make the canopy fit. You'd explain that a bit better, Airfix. I wish you'd explain the thinking behind it a bit better. It would make my life a lot easier if you had. Because I'm still not, I get the door, I'm just not quite figuring out why I'm cutting that away. Why am I cutting that away? Another test fit. Yeah, that seems pretty solid. There's the canopy. There it is sitting there. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? Come on, Airfix, explain to me why I need to do this. It feels flush there. It's sitting over the fuselage. And I know I'm missing something, and I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what I'm missing. Why am I? Goodness sake, Airfix. Just use text. Put a bit of freaking descriptive text to explain why you're doing things. I'll go with what you say, I'll cut it. I'm not sure I'm making any sense of it. Alright, so where are we going to cut? So this is what Airfix is telling me to do. I'm not sure why I need to do it. It's not jumping out at me, and there's no text to explain what it's doing. I'm guessing it's to make the canopy fit better, but it didn't seem to fit that bad. But Airfix are quite insistent in the instructions that this is what you're supposed to do if you want to have a closed canopy. So we'll just have to take the manufacturer's word for it that I've got to do it. Because doing it later will be a lot harder. Let's see what magic difference that made. Okay, it's the two parts together. That's our hood. I'm not sure what difference that's really making, but I'll just take Airfix's word for it. Okay, let's put that part back in. Where's that silly thing? I want you to do this side first because of the tank. Goes in there like that. There you go. Like that. Then you put the oxygen tank in somewhere. Yep. Magically that's supposed to glue in there. I can't see why we can't put that in first actually. Let's try and do that way. I'm going to have to use super glue. Make all this work. Oh, come on. Oh good, it just popped off. Oh. Okay, I've tried to be nice about this, but I'm going to call this out. This is really a stupid design. Way over-engineered and way too complicated to get right. I don't like the really thick sidewalls that you get at the end of it as well. That oxygen bottle is very hard to get into place. It probably should have been molded into the plastic on the fuselage. That's a sensible way to solve that. But they didn't. Okay, we'll have another crack at it. I really don't think it's been helped by this glue. I think the super glue is pretty much cactus. I had a stack of super glue, so I hadn't bothered buying any for this project. And then I discovered they're all dried out. And this one's not, but it's pretty close. So I don't think it's working terribly well. I'll have a look and see what else I've got. That's a waste of time. Any ones I've really got left? This Flex Bond one. It's probably not ideal. It's going to have to do. Just run out of super glues. The shop I used to buy it from, like a lot of shops unfortunately these days, it's gone out of business. So I have to, if I need glue, I have to basically order it in and have it delivered. It takes a few days. Which is obviously not ideal. That's just going to float around in there and fit anywhere but where it should go. Come on, guy. Come on. You can do it. Maybe you can't do it. Maybe I should just give up on that bit. It's a very painful process. Oh, come on. Oh. Getting frustrating. I think that's where it's meant to go. But is it going to stay there? I don't know. I've got my doubts. I've sincerely got my doubts that's going to stay there. But what I'm going to do to give it a chance to dry and see if it will is change my focus, because that's driving me nuts anyway. So let's go back and look at this. So our yellow's dried, which is nice. And so we can go ahead and paint that propeller blades. So what I'm going to do is just try and find an image. There we go, that'll do. Just get an idea how much yellow they have on the tips. And some tape. Not much of a tip. That's probably about there. Oops. There. It's probably a little too much. Might do though. I'm just going to repeat this obviously for each one. Again, if you're going to try and get more accurate, you can use 2 pieces of tape, one on either side, which would get you a nicer finish or fit, I should say. But again, for expediency, I'm just going to bend this over and line it up with the other piece, like so, and then just push it down with my finger. I'm making sure the bit that looks the best as far as the alignment goes is on the front of the propeller you're most likely to look at on the model. Okay. Provided I haven't got it horribly wrong, it'll look fine and you won't notice it even if it's slightly out. Okay, so for the colour, I guess we'll keep using the tyre black. It's just about done anyway, so I think what I might do is just add some thinners to that and mix it in the jar. Making sure I'm using an acrylic thinner. The reason I can thin it, by the way, is because I've got a spare bottle of paint, so when it comes to brush painting I'll use that one, and I'll just use this one for airbrushing. What thinner am I using today? Ammonig. I've got quite a few. I bought all the different brands, but I found with experience it doesn't really matter all that much, as long as you're using an acrylic or a lacquer thinner, depending on the paint you're working with. Or if you're feeling adventurous, sometimes X28, which is to me is one which works with some and not with others, as you'll find out if you haven't already. Okay. So let's switch across to the other. There. Okay, so paint's not spraying properly at all. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's obviously got some issues. This 48-hour build's turning out to be great. I don't think I normally get this number of problems in one build ever. But we're making up for it. So I've just opened up the new jar. And while that dries off a bit, go ahead and use this one. And hopefully this one will behave. Certainly looking a little bit better. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Just need a little bit more paint. Okay. It's pretty good. I've got to say, Airfix did a really nice job of capturing the curvature of those propeller blades. Right, so we'll just do a clean up. So I'll switch you back to the other one while I'm doing that. This lets me turn off the camera. Okay. Alrighty. So we'll let the propeller dry, and let's see. Oh, I think that tank is stuck. So now in theory, I can glue the two halves together, I think. Yes, I can. And that will be the end of the cockpit. Well, most of it. I do revisit it for a gun sight, I think. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Glue on that side. It's a bit wide so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Let's turn a few things off. Lots of noises going. Okay. Now for this part, where we're joining the fuselage halves together, I really don't want to spend too much time doing sanding and filling. So to try and avoid it as much as I can, I'm going to use this Mr. Cement S. And the reason for that is it melts the plastic a bit. So I'm just going to use capillary reaction here to first of all join the parts together, like so. And with Airfix plastics being fairly soft, this won't take very long at all. And then I'm going to gently push them together. So I'm just softening the plastic. What I'm trying to do here, and you can see it hopefully, is I'm creating a slight ridge of plastic where the two parts have joined, but they've also melted slightly together. And the reason I do that is because that basically means that once I sand it, I get a nice smooth finish. And I don't have to spend lots of time sanding and doing stuff like that, which on a build like this, when we're trying to get this thing done so quickly, would really be a problem. So I'll start on the fuselage, back. Let's hold those two parts at the front to get bond first. I'm hoping that the joint of the wing's good. I think with most modern Airfix kits it is. You can see that darn warp going on inside with the seat. Oops. Which is very frustrating. And I would have stopped and fixed that if this wasn't a 24-hour build. A 48-hour build, sorry. But it's another good reason to just seal up the canopy, because you'll see the seat, but you won't notice that if the whole thing's been sealed up. So you don't have to worry about it then. What I am curious about now I've built this thing though is what the, or I'm building this thing I should say, is what the Eddard Spitfire's like, or the Tamiya Spitfire's like in comparison. I'm going to take a wild guess and say the Tamiya one's better. I don't think this is horrible so far, but I think it's very fiddly. And if I wasn't trying to get it done in a hurry, I already would have probably spent a day or two just trying to correct things like that seat and the rudder pedals and getting them lined up better, which I would have pulled off, but would have taken some of the joy out of the build when you have to sort of stop to do things like that. I remember from the Hurricane they had a separate rudder and stuff on them as well, which, yeah, that's a nice feature. If you're you want to pose your model with the undercarriage. Oh, I put fingerprint on it. Bugger. Let's go back and sand that off. I do that with every model. It's almost like my signature move. It'll come off easy enough. It's just got to remember to do it. Feeling a bit more solid at least. That seat's bugging me. There's really nothing I can do about it, but it's just bugging me. Okay. Oh, we've got optional parts again. Oh no, for A and B. Okay. So we've got a different cowling piece. Okay, so we've got B6 for this build. It's D, so we don't want that. B16. test. How well does it cover up everything? Yeah. Not my favourite way of doing things. I know Airfix saves money by doing this because they can have multiple variants in the one kit. But I would prefer they just made the whole fuselage piece for each variant, rather than making us do this. But I'm sure they don't really care what I think, so we're just going to have to cop it. It does hide the sidewalls though, I have to say, to be fair, which I thought was going to be a problem. Just trying to get a better fit if I can. The piece there needs to be trimmed. Right there. Yeah, it's pretty ordinary. I'm not going to kid you. It can be made to work, but that's pretty ordinary. Alright, we're going to make the most of it. Move on. So I'm going to start by gluing the front, which is going to be the hardest bit if it didn't fit. And also, I'll put a nice fingerprint on it again. Goodness sake. Just hold that in place for a minute. A little bit of paint and a little bit of light sanding, that should be okay. Might put a bit of plastic putty in there too, just to fill the gap a bit. Not fill it, but just to redo that panel line that it's sitting on. Okay, let's see how we go on this side. Push it down. So it's going to need a bit more work, I think. A little bit more, not too much. Just hold that for a sec. Again, I managed to put a fingerprint on it. It's kind of my signature move. Got one at the back as well I have to clean off. Curiosity's got the better of me. First of all, does it fit? Yes. Can you see anything through it? Yeah, you can actually. Should look right. I see enough detail. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, let's Just have a quick look at the instructions. Okay, so it looks like we're doing the wings, which is good. Again, there were parts I should have painted and I didn't. Really didn't think this through very well. Didn't think this through well at all. But anyway. Normally I would sit down with the instructions and probably go over them at least 4 or 5 times. You know, to sit with a coffee and look at them, try and get my head around it, think about any painting, sub-assemblies. I don't do a lot of sub-assemblies like I used to, because finding as I get older I just muck things up too much. I make work for myself. But I do definitely go through the instructions multiple times, because these kits are getting more and more complicated, far more complicated than what they were when we were building them as kids. Yeah, we get the detail, sure, but you do have to put more thought into them. There's more things to understand. And because these kits are designed for an international market, they don't want to use text, English to explain things, because then they'd have to put multiple languages, and that means if you print extra sheets they've got to print up. So what ends up happening is you just get diagrams and symbols, and you just got to kind of hope that, one, they're accurate, and two, that you understand them correctly. Because if you don't, you're kind of knackered. That looks okay, I think. Alright, so let's put that aside. Let's have a look at the wings. Did not end up needing to do that because of the tub they created. Anyway, live and learn. And I'm going to take a guess I'm going to have to do some hacksawing here soon. I'll clip wings. I guess. I'm cutting wings off. I am cutting wings off. You know what? I think I might do that first. Just to say it's done. So it's these pieces. cut this piece out because I'm just curious to see how the parts fit before I start cutting the wing. These gates that they've got joining the parts are not good. They leave like a raised piece when you cut them. That's not really very good, in my opinion. That shouldn't really be part of the design, particularly for a kid. I mean, I think if you're a kid, this kit's very hard to build. I think it's really been designed for an adult. I think they have got a simplified Spitfire kit out, actually. I'll stand corrected. I think they did bring one out. Maybe that's why. Maybe they realised that, you know, Spitfire is a popular subject in the UK. Maybe they realised they need to have something a bit simpler than this for that market. I'm not sure if they're meant to be cut off or not, so I'm not going to... I don't look like they're meant to be. I'm guessing they're meant to be there. Yes, they are. So let's just see what the fit's like first, and then I'll cut those bits off at the end. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, not bad. I wonder whether my knife blade will do it. I'll have to get a saw out, have a look and see how we go. Yeah. Good enough. I can sand them a bit smoother when we come to that part of the project. I think we've got some internal ribbing and stuff to do first. Alright, well, I think that might be a good spot to just take a little bit of a break, and then we can start on the wings proper. This all seems to be drying fine. That doesn't look too bad at all, so that should be okay to sand and rescribe if we need to. I'm going to use a bit of plastic putty here, fix that up, make that look a bit tidier. That should be fine. The seat's a little bit crooked, but as we said, you're not going to notice that once we put the canopy on it, just to show you what that looks like. So we'll wrap up the video. I'll just put the back part of the bubble canopy on there. As you can see, yeah, it looks good, and you're not going to see that much anyway. You know there's stuff in there, but you don't see that much. So I think that's fine. Alright, so that'll do us for this recording. I'll probably come back in half an hour or so, and push on and try and get the wings done. I guess the goal today will be to try and get the aircraft pretty much assembled, so I can start painting tomorrow. Alright, see you on the next video.